You're watching the Weiss Channel. Da 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 da.
Woo!
Today we're doing imaginary numbers. All right, imaginary numbers. So, first of all, remember that the square root of 25 is 5, right? No problem there. Well, what's the square root of negative 25? Can't be negative 5 because negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Can't be positive 5 because positive 5 times positive 5 is also positive 25. So what's negative? The square root of negative 25? It doesn't exist. It doesn't work. There's no such number. And we call it an imaginary number. So to use imaginary numbers, we use the letter I to represent imaginary. So we call this 5I. I for imaginary. Okay? So what's the square root of negative 1? That is 1I, or just plain I. Either way.
How you know?
Okay? What's the square root of negative 36? 6I. What about the square root of negative 200? That's just like we've done before, where here, would you agree it's square root negative 100 times square root 2, right? So now, what's the square root of negative 100? That would be 10I, and then just bring down square root of 2. Done. Over here, square root of negative 242 is square root of negative 121 times square root of 2. Square root of negative 121 would be 11I square root of 2. Same thing, square root negative 450. That's going to be square root negative 225 square root of 2. Square root negative 225 is 15I square root of 2. Okay? What if we're adding two of them together? All right. Square root of negative 363 plus square root of negative 432. Okay. Square root of negative 363 is square root of negative 121 times square root of 3, or 11, whoops. Let's do this. 11I square root of 3. And this breaks down to square root negative 144 times square root of 3. 12I square root of 3. And you add them together. 11I plus 12I is 23I square root of 3. Okay? Perhaps you've noticed by now, we always put the negative inside with the perfect square. And we leave the extra piece without the negative. Okay? Once again, notice square root of negative 512, square root of negative 392. Notice that the negative is left with the perfect square. Okay? That's how we write it. So this becomes 16I square root of 2. And this is 14I square root of 2. 16I plus 14I is 30I square root of 2. Okay? Over here, negative square root 722 plus square root negative 578. This breaks down to square root negative 361 square root of 2 plus square root negative 289 square root of 2. Square root negative 361 is 19I square root of 2. And square root negative 289 is 17I square root of 2. 19 plus 17 is 36I square root of 2. You been watching the Weiss channel. Da 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 da.